He has a mortgage on it for. Oh, hold on one sec. Get that notification out of the way. Purchase price 360, has a mortgage on it for 173, I think. So I introduced sub two. He said, yeah, I can do that. He actually had another property selling sub two. If he, purchase price 360, he has like equity of about 180. And the reason I want to do the sub two is because his interest rate is 3.25, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that's a great
So
interest
he's
rate.
like, hey, yeah. So he's got technically 180 in equity. So I told him, hey, could we maybe, I didn't say the word hybrid, but I said, hey, could you be open to seller financing part of the equity? He said, yeah, but he wants a high down payment. So I guess my question is, what kind of solution do I have here? Because let's say the mortgage is first position, he's probably going to want second position on whatever he seller finances. What would I do with that down payment?
Okay, so
to my knowledge, I kind of can't really find a PML that wants third position. I'm thinking maybe a partner, but what kind of options do I have here?
Okay, so you said that he is willing to do owner finance on part of his equity, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and have you talked about how much he is willing to seller finance?
Currently negotiating. I offered, a down payment 50K. He said it had to be too low. So I asked him, what would you suggest? And I'm waiting back to hear from him.
Okay, so are you open to constructive criticism?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so one of the first things you want to do is always have the seller make the first offer. So let them tell you what it is that they want or what it is that they need to have. That way you can come to them. So they can say, oh, well, I need X amount of dollars. And then you've got options of how you're going to respond to that and how you're going to address it. So now that you've come to him and said 50K, he can go and say, oh, well, I want a little bit more, or I want to do it this fashion, this fashion. It might have been that he would have told you he would take 30K down, and I hear this gentleman wants more, but in a general sense, you never know what a seller, especially one who's willing to do owner financing, is willing to do. So go ahead.
So I did try that.
Mm-hmm.
At first say, hey, how much do you want? Oh, I'm trying to, I think he said, oh, I'm trying to, build a new place. I did ask him how much do you want. He would not give me a number. So that's why I started out with something.
Yep, sometimes they can be difficult. Absolutely. Okay, so how long ago was it that you had this conversation and asked him about the down payment?
Yesterday.
Okay, gotcha. So he hasn't talked to you about terms for does he want interest?
Yes, he does.
What interest rate does he want?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Kind of hard to get numbers out of him right now.
Gotcha. Okay, so one of the things that keep in mind is that when a seller comes to you and they say, I want X amount of dollars down, then you can try to negotiate the interest rate. If they want a higher interest rate, then you're going to want to try to negotiate the down payment. So those are things to work with. Have you decided what your cap is going to be? Do you know how to figure that out?
You say cash or cap? I didn't quite hear you.
Your cap. What's the most that you can pay for this property?
Like purchase price, down payment? What do you mean by that?
Put it all together, each thing.
Okay. I have not determined that, no. Because again, I'm broke, so it kind of depends on who I can get to help me with this also.
Okay. So one
Jason,
of the I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, can I interrupt real quick?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, Jason, what is your exit strategy for this property? Are you buying it to purchase it to hold it, or are you
To house hack.
you don't
I
know?
want to live in one. To house hack, so I want to live in one of the units and rent out the other unit.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's a buy and hold.
Yeah, basically.
Are you planning on using the other unit as short-term, mid-term, or long-term?
I was planning long term. He
Okay.
already has two tenants right now, so obviously depending on when the other tenant moves out, I can move in. But yeah.
Okay. How much would you be making in rent? How much are they paying right now?
So one side's paying $1,350, other side $1,380, and the mortgage, I believe it's like $950 PITI.
Okay.
How do you plan on funding the down payment?
That's my question, actually.
Okay.
So in order to find funding, you're gonna have to have a lot more information on the property, on what you're gonna do with it. So we understand that you wanna live in half and then you want to rent out the other half. But how long is left on the current lease option? Is the renter who's in there planning on staying? Have they already been in for a while? What's the condition? Have you spoken to the seller about the condition of the rental units?
Oh yeah, I have it written down somewhere. I could look it up later, but it has had quite a few updates in the last few years.
Okay, did you ask about the roof and the HVAC?
HVAC is good. I think they got that renovated 2 years ago. I have not asked about the roof.
Okay. So the way that I see it is you're wanting to do it as a buy and hold, but you have no idea how much the down payment's going to be. You have no idea what the interest rate's going to be. Until you have all of that information put together, there's no way you're going to be able to find financing. But the first thing you have to do is go through the process of finding out if a deal like this is going to work. But for you, just finding out how much the maximum that you can pay is. Do you have any software or any apps at all for real estate?
Software and apps, no.
Mhm. Okay, let's see here. So I have one on my phone that's really easy. It's called there we go. It's called REI calculator. You see it there?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with that app, it is really, 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 really easy to use. So when you take a look, can you guys see that, or is there too much glare? Okay.
Kind of.
Oh,
Can you
All right.
hold it up again? I'm sorry. Thank you.
no problem. You guys want to take a screenshot?
That's great. Thanks so much.
Okay, so on here, it has rental property, fix and flip, and mortgage payment calculators. So when you go into that, after you download it, you're gonna put in the address, the purchase price, how much your closing costs are gonna be, how much repair costs are gonna be, loans, all that stuff, and they'll analyze the deal. And then it'll tell you roughly what you can afford to pay for this house and if it's gonna be able to make you money. So before we talk about anything else regarding where to find financing for a deal like this, I think a good idea for you is to learn how to determine if a deal is actually going to be a good deal. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any
Now-
questions? I'm super happy
I
to
have a
answer.
quick,
That-
quick,
I was gonna say, is that app iPhone only? 'Cause I just looked it up on the Android store.
No, it's on Android. I have an Android.
what's it called again? I'm sorry.
It's REI calculator.
Yeah, it's
Let me
not
go
coming
ahead.
up in Play Store. Okay.
It's best I can do is show you on here. I downloaded it from my Play Store. It's installed. So let me run to my Play Store and
You can share the link.
see.
Hey, Jason, another thing about this deal, you want to probably do is try to figure out his motivation for wanting to get rid of the property. That's probably one of
Right.
the most important questions.
That
You can
is,
ask
should
the
be one of the
seller.
first questions.
Do you have any
Absolutely.
idea why he's selling?
Yeah, he's out of state and he doesn't want to, work with properties in Nashville anymore.
Why absentees are some of the best leads you can get. Why did you ask him why he wanted to sell it off market, not with a real estate agent, or
I did not.
okay,
Good question.
that'd be another good question to ask him.
Because the way I found him, he didn't like
Mhm.
make a post. I think like another person made a post saying, "Hey, anyone selling multifamily?" And he put a comment saying, "Yeah, I am." And I
Hmm.
private messaged him and a whole bunch of people in that feed saying, "Hey, what are you working with?"
What did the
And how I
post say?
found him.
I'm sorry.
So another person, a completely other person, just made a post on one of the Facebook groups I'm in, saying, "Hey, I'm looking to buy multifamilies," and you know how a bunch of people put comments, "Hey, I got a multifamily," all that. I message all those
Mhm.
people saying, "Hey, I'm looking for multifamily. What do you have?" And he's one of the persons that responded back to me.
Okay, gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha.
All right, guys, so I pulled up my Play Store. And if you I typed in REI calculator, it's going to be the third down. And if you can see there's the little thumbnail image. You guys able to see that?
Yep.
What's
Okay,
the publisher name?
you guys are giving me questions I don't know the answer to. Hold on. Remote
Make
real
sure I download the right
estate.
one.
I think that's the name of
Okay, it
it.
is that one. Okay, yeah.
That's so weird.
Okay, I found it. Yeah,
Oh,
the
yay.
icon on the Play Store looks different than the one on your phone. Maybe that's why I was confused.
Gotcha.
What's the place for?
It's a little, so it's a little
No, I know that,
white
I mean-
square, yellow circle, and then a calculator.
So weird. All right, I'll
And
figure it out.
that's just a really quick and dirty way to analyze a deal. Okay,
Cool.
any other questions?
Thank you for sharing that.
Adam, thank you so much, by the way. You've got great feedback and great questions.
No problem. No problem. I do what I can.
Okay,
Is that calculator, is that on iPhone or too, or is it only on Google?
I don't have an iPhone. I have
Not sure.
no
Oh,
idea.
okay.
I know.
All right.
I know what an iPhone has that an Android does not have.
What's that?
Little picture of an apple.
Oh. Yep.
Yep. I know a great joke about that, but I only think it's funny because I have an Android, not an Apple. So, anybody else have any questions before we get into wraps?
Yeah, I have a question
Yeah.
about novations. I know I was messaging you online. When dealing with novations, when you're especially like some states you cannot wholesale deals in. So like in South Carolina, you can wholesale, but you can do novations, from what I understand and understand. But recently I just talked to somebody else. They say you probably can't do novations there no more. Is that true or
Did you say you cannot do wholesale deals in South Carolina?
correct?
What is the reason for that?
It's supposed to be illegal. It's illegal.
A lot of states are cracking down
Can
on
you have
that.
some napkins, please?
I'm sorry?
Oh, okay, thanks.
I think she's just talking.
Okay. If you're not on here asking a question or giving feedback, if you could just mute yourselves, guys. So Don, Craig, Liesel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm happy to have you on and say hello to everyone and introduce yourself in a few minutes. Just for now, if we're not chatting, if we can just be muted. Thank you, guys. So they're cracking down a lot of places on wholesaling. So a novation is a really great option. So that's a great question, Sterling, and I'm glad you asked. We did chat earlier. So one of the things that I asked you earlier is, were you trying to use a novation to wholesale a property, right? Or fix and flip a property? So
I was going to wholesale. Oh, my fault. I didn't know you was asking that question now. Just to wholesale it. Sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, I wanted to bring it in so everybody understood what was going on. So with the novation, there's really only two things that you want to do or that it's really ideal for. I don't know if everyone knows what a novation is, so I'm going to explain it. A novation is when a person has a home, let's say it's a ARV 300,000 and the owner wants 225,000. And it's going to take 50,000 to do the reno. So when you go in and you close, you're going to have to put out your reno fee, your closing costs, the money to the seller, all the other costs and fees involved. When you do a novation, you make an agreement with the seller and you say, I'm going to buy the property from you for the $225,000. So you get that deal under contract. And then you say, I will do, if it's a fix and flip, then you say, I will do all of the renovations and I'll take care of all of that. And then we'll close on the property once that's all been repaired and you will get, or once all the reno's been done, and you will get your 225 and I will get the remaining balance. So that gives a lot of flexibility. And now you don't have to go find funding for all of the buy-in and your entry cost. All you have to do at that point is secure funding for the fix and flip. When you're doing it as a wholesale agreement, it's the same thing that you would go through as a wholesaler. But you're being very transparent with the seller and saying, listen, you've got a great property. In your case, I think you said it just needed some groundwork, some gardening. I think that's what
Yes,
you
some
said.
landscaping. Yeah, some
Okay.
landscaping.
Gotcha. Okay, so in that situation, you're gonna go in, you're gonna say, hey, listen, I'm gonna do this bit of landscaping, and then I'm gonna pay you when the property sells. Sometimes, especially like stale listings, expired listings, owner finance that don't, whose motivation isn't, I need to move now. They already own another property or they've got equity, you know, and they just want to get what they want for it and aren't in a huge rush. Then a novation agreement is ideal for that as well. You can use it in lots of other cases and situations where you're wholesaling, especially if you can get it really low and the person has a lot of equity in the property. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions about that, including you, darling?
I've got a question.
I'd love to hear it.
What is your objection to when you pitch a novation deal to a seller and they say, well, you know, why don't I just do that myself? I just hire the real estate agent myself and I'll do the fix, you know, hire the people myself.
Well, they can surely do that, but then they're going to pay the real estate agent's fees. The agreement that you're making, and there's more to it, but the thing you want to concentrate on is you want $225,000. I am going to make sure that you get $225,000. I will buy it for the price you want. You don't have to negotiate with somebody. You don't have to do this, that, the next thing. You don't have to go deal with the attorneys and the title agency for the majority, for that end buyer, right? Because you're going to come in, you're the middleman, you're going to deal with all that stuff. So that's one thing. On innovation, it is really good to educate the seller on what is going to come out of their pocket, because they're not going to get that $225,000, right? So you want to go to them and say, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to have to pay out. If you're willing to do this with me, you will get exactly what you're asking for. You don't have to worry about X, Y, Z. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just we've had sellers in the past, and we don't have a lot of experience with novation deals. I don't know how many you've done or anything like that, but maybe
Gotcha.
I'll just send them over to somebody who does them. It's not really our expertise.
Are you on my Facebook? Are we Facebook friends?
I think so. We're definitely in the group chat together, the North Carolina group chat.
Okay. My number's up here. It's, everybody grab a phone. It's 828-434-9224. And I'm pretty much often available. I work on Pacific Standard Time. So from noon to roughly midnight Eastern Standard Time, you can get a hold of me. Andrew knows I'm pretty much available if someone has questions, if I'm working with someone. If you come across a deal that's ideal for a novation, but you don't do it or you can't make it work, or any complicated deals you guys come across, let me know, bring them to me, and we can JV and try to make it work for you guys. So you're not just passing off a lead, but you can make money from it. Does that make sense? Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I'm gonna put a link in the chat because we are running out of time, but I set up a second Zoom for after this one because I thought we might get a little bit busy and have lots of chatting and questions. So do you have any more questions on that, Adam?
Oh no, that's it about innovations.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Are you going to go over the you said you were going to go over wraps and stuff like that?
Yeah,
And then are you going to open up the Zoom for like more Q&A and more like collaboration, networking, or
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll just
That's
hold off on.
one of the main reasons I wanted everyone to come and sort of introduce themselves and say where they were is because Zooms are a great place to meet and collaborate and network. So yeah, that's why I wanted to start it out that way. And I'm definitely open to questions. wraps are sort of a complex concept for a lot of people, but there's a lot of money to be made in it. And I think that a lot of people are missing the plate on that one. So I kind of wanted to talk about that because it's a great way to really have a lot of revenue on a property. And you don't have to come in with a whole lot of money down to do it, which is great. So,
Definitely. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you wanted the Q&A before or after because you said you're running out of time.
well, I just posted a link for Zoom that will start at 9:11, but I'm going to start it as soon as I close this one. So
Okay.
we can do more questions and answers. We can do that at the start if you guys like. We've got everyone, tell me if you want to do more questions and answers, or if you want to talk about Zooms. Let me know in the chat. If you want more Q&A, put a Q. If you want to talk about wraps, put a W. Okay, we got one wrap and one question. Anybody else? Questions? Okay. Wrap, okay. Wrap, okay.
Quick question to the
Wrap.
group. So I'm
Okay.
on the West Coast, obviously. I have two sons that are stationed in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay.
Anybody near that area?
I'm in Virginia. I'm not near Quantico though. Where is Quantico exactly? What's the closest city? Big city?
Hold on
They're
real quick.
probably
Everybody copy and paste